All right, guys, welcome back for first edition or second edition of Nighttime for the year. Big welcome to MG.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to the season, and hopefully there'll be plenty to talk about with the Newcastle Knights winning most of their games.
No, looking forward to it, and upwards from here. And also, welcome to the Crazy Lady this year.
Hello.
And Corey.
Called worse.
Pugsley, isn't it now?
Yeah, we put out the challenge there to, everyone had a nickname here other than Corey, and they come up with Pugsley Adams. So
It's a bit harsh.
I was going to go St. Nick, but do you reckon that?
no, Pugsley.
No, okay. Right.
So Pugsley it is, and over at our new part of the studio, floor, or should I call him Bar Boy Gary?
How you going, fellas?
So that's our new.
And ladies.
What am I, chop liver?
And the top of the day. How are you, Kylie?
You're just salty from last year, aren't you?
I am.
But how'd the Riverworms go?
They're going all right.
Yeah, no worries. And
A few injuries, but we'll get there.
how's the bar going over there?
It's good. It's sturdy.
The nighttime bar.
Nighttime.
So we'll have some.
He's holding it up anyway.
It's holding me up.
Well, he's a bit behind the times, you see. We've all got new clothes, and he's still in the old stuff.
Yeah.
Still in the old here.
Typical Parramatta supporter behind the times.
But
It's good
yeah.
information, but
Yeah.
So we'll have some special guests in this year at the nighttime bar as well. So looking forward to it. But let's get into it. Let's talk some footy. It's been a long time off. So just a little bit of a review on the team so far. But we've got some new players. Adam Elliott, very keen to see Adam Elliott. I think he could be one of the signings of the year. I think, well for us definitely. But just being to train him, watching the enthusiasm of him, and he just seems to be. Some players change clubs and they find a club and they just gel.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me that he's just loving it here.
Yeah.
Saw an interview with him yesterday or the day before, and he's you can just tell that he's raring to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's loving Newcastle, and most people that come to Newcastle fall in love with the place, so he's certainly done that. And I think the fact that they've also got Jack Hetherington, who's really an aggressive player. Hopefully he doesn't get sent off or whatever, but I love Jack's aggressiveness, and I've known Jack since he was a kid, so mate, he's going to be a really good acquisition for the club.
Well, that's something we need too with the loss of Clem.
Yeah,
we need
definitely
that mongrel to look after our likes of Ponga and those kind of things.
Yep.
But very excited to see him go as well. But this year's going to be, I feel, going to be a lot better than last year. That's for sure. With what we've got coming or brought in, but sad to see a few players go. But
yeah, it's always hard to keep as many players as you can, but with the salary cap, etc. So, not sure how the Roosters managed to fit their players in there, but they do pretty well.
Well, who's going to be on the radar this week for him?
But yeah, look, in saying that, I mean, if we can keep the majority of our players on the paddock for most of the year, then I think we'll go pretty well.
Well, that's another key factor in it, injuries.
Yeah, and it's been, for the last couple of years that the injuries have probably cruelled us, and if you can, I think the stat was the last couple of years or whatever, there'd been something like 20 odd different halfback or halves combinations. So, just trying to keep, if you can keep Carlin and Jackson Hastings together, and obviously Lockie Miller at the back and Jalen Brayley on the paddock, who hasn't played much either.
That's right, true.
Because of injury, and I think that'll be a big difference for the club.
It was interesting to see Kurt Mann fill in at hooker the other week.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing about Kurt is he can fill in any position.
No, that's
You know,
right.
he can play fullback, he can play in the halves, he can play hooker. You know, so he's a really a useful utility player. The fact that I'm interested that he's starting in a lock forward position, they're going to probably use him as a bit of an extra ball player there.
Yeah,
so,
true.
You know, I think it'll work well.
Yeah, I liked it. To be honest, I like, you know, especially if Bradley needs a break and you throw Kerr there.
Yep.
I like his quickness and his speed out of dummy half.
Yep.
You know, a couple of forward balls, but, you know, that's trials as things happen. But, yeah, I like it, honestly. Yeah.
Well, I know they've got Phoenix Crossland on the bench, and I think they're looking at playing Phoenix at times, the number 9 position as well, dummy half. So he'll probably come on and fill in there.
He can cover a lot of positions, can't he?
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, a bit of like an old Connor Watson.
Yeah. Talking about Connor, I hope his recovery's going well.
Yeah. Poor boy hasn't had much luck since
No.
leaving, but
No.
yeah. One thing I must say too is I was doing a bit of research there and having a look at a few things. When you think of the biggest Knights tackle you've ever seen, what do you think?
MJ.
Everyone would
Field.
think Chief and Harragon, but I'll tell you what, Craig Field's still feeling, looking for his ribs.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably a lucky shot in the end, but it's funny. I bumped into a bloke a couple of years ago, and Craig Field was up in Cessnock jail, and the bloke was a warden up there, and he said, "Oh mate, we kept giving it to Craig Field about getting smashed by myself."
Oh, mate.
I wonder if they can still find his ribs on Brookvale Oval there, mate, somewhere.
That was
Well, it was a bit dirty. He got up in the end, but
Yeah.
I don't know how he did, to be honest. I don't know how he got up, because I tell you what, you know, we all know Chief and Carroll, that big hit you know, on that wet Friday night. That was, you know, one of the best ever. But I tell you what, if that one of MG's wasn't up there, it's got to be a close second. If
Probably
not.
get a grade 2 these days.
Oh,
for the
mate,
weights.
we were lucky, I guess, in those early years. We had some great defenders. Like there was David Boyd, David Mullane, you know, Sarge could hit blokes, Peter Johnston. We had some really good.
We had Mark
forwards.
Tukey on
Yeah.
there last year, and he was saying, I think was his debut game against the Knights, or we played against the Knights, and he said,
Yeah.
the whole game, Butts just fair give it to him.
Yeah.
And he said that he'll remember that for the rest of his life.
Oh, mate, without doubt. And that was the thing, mate. We, you know, from those early days was, you know, we're probably not going to win too many games, but we're going to make sure we have a crack at them. And,
Yeah, that's it.
and you know, and more often than not, the team that we played against got beat the following week because they were
Too
a bit
sore.
wounded. Yeah.
Mark, was it always true that you guys used to wet the dressing room of the visitors before they
Well,
actually run out?
We
Is
didn't,
that,
but
is that
yeah,
myth or-
there was, unfortunately, yeah, used to, not sure, it must have been a leak there, but yeah, unfortunately the away dressing room got, you know, covered with water, and it was pretty cold and damp in there.
I mean, I
so-
played a couple of schoolboy games at the old ISC back in the day, and you know,
Yeah.
it was, you could tell how it was hollow, and
Yeah.
you know, it's
Mate, and that was the thing. It was about trying to make the opposition as uncomfortable as we could
Yeah.
possibly
But
do.
that's
And-
what we need to do back. We need to get that back where teams feared coming down that freeway.
Well, exactly.
You know,
You know,
and-
more often than not, teams might say, "Oh, we'll come in. We might get the 2 points, but fair chance we'll go home wounded." So,
yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, people remember, you know, like the Newcastle chant. That was deafening.
yeah.
You know, and yourself, you know, running out to that. And,
Oh, mate, it was awesome. But the thing about it is that your home ground, you should never get beat at home. I mean, ideally, yeah, you'd win all games, but you know, the thing about it is that you're at home in front of your home fans. You don't want opposition coming here. You want to make it as tough for them as possible. So, you know, you should never try and give up
no, that's
and
right.
make it easy for
Can
them.
I be fair and say there was a couple of embarrassing losses at home last year?
Oh, without doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really disappointing. And, you know, I looked at those games and thought, I can't see any pride or passion around, you know, the fact that you're at home. It's embarrassing to get beat like that at home, on your
Yeah.
home ground. So,
As you said, you want to make teams come to home, and you know, you want to give them a crack at them,
Yeah.
so to speak. You know, so
yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, I remember the first year, you know, in '88, and I think we played, I forget who it was at the end of the year. I think it was North Sydney, and if we beat them, then we avoided the wooden spoon. I think we ended up beating them by 40 or so. So, you know, just to avoid the wooden spoon. So we had something playful, and I think I remember Hague's coaching the team in 2003 maybe, where they hardly won a game, but the crowds would come to the game because they knew they were having a dig at home. And,
Yeah.
you know, they were the light on as well.
Yeah.
So.
That's the thing too. I think, regardless, win, lose or draw, you know, get beat by 50 or 100, we'll all still keep turning up.
And that's the thing, mate. That's the beauty of our crowds, is that they love our team, and as long as you're having a dig, they'll go to the game and support you.
But when they're winning too, the town's different. The town's happy, and you know,
Exactly.
it just spreads. But I'll tell you one thing, mate, we've got to change is the food. The food is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
You go to Penrith, I tell you what, it just reminded me because I'm hungry. But
Harry's-
Someone's got a soft spot for Penrith.
you go and you get the toasted sandwiches.
No, it's a Krispy Kreme across the road.
No, that's to the way home. Or you get the hot donuts and those Pluto pops, mate. They're about
Smita's our connoisseur of food.
Obviously.
yeah. We're doing a
Any
food
healthy
critique.
food in there?
You need to get Harry Schnitzels in the night stadium.
We do.
They
Harry
would sell
Schnitzel.
like hotcakes.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, well, look at me. See, Harry Schnitzels, they're going down like a tree. But- so I said to Harry there the other day, I said, mate, you got to stop. I'm putting on way too much weight. But while we're talking about sponsors, I must apologise. Our TVs have had a bit of an issue this week. So,
Back to normal next week.
yeah, back to normal next week. So we do apologise to all of our lovely sponsors out there, but we will make it up to you. But, yeah.
Back to the games. Is there such thing as home ground advantage anymore?
I think there is. Yeah, definitely there is. I mean, I know when our crowd at home, if, you know, when we've got, say, 20,000 there, if they start chanting that Newcastle chant, like, surely that lifts our team. you would
Yeah.
think.
But the crowd's got to keep it going, not just at Newcastle for three times and it stops.
Yeah, it
You know?
starts and then I start yelling out, go Newcastle, obviously when they're not playing my team. And then it seems to die and I'm like, well, that was awkward.
So, I mean, we've got to keep it going for the boys. And like Brady and Kurt have been on here last year, and they say, and MG said, you know, it lifts them.
Oh, without doubt.
So, as a fans, if we can do that little bit to lift the team, well, let's do it. And, the atmosphere is electric.
Oh, there's
like
nothing
that.
better when the crowd's, and there's 20,000 there and they're all screaming that chant.
I tell you what, I'll never forget is that 97, we'll use that 97 grand final. That atmosphere in that game,
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I was a 17-year-old there, and I'll never forget that. Because I've been to every kind of game, grand finals, everything, and nothing will compare to that. But just all
true.
the way home.
I know, like the amount of people that were on the sidelines on the side of the road on the freeway on the way back was just incredible.
Something you'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, it took us, when we got to the Shell Servos at Wall's End, it took us an hour to get from there into town.
Unbelievable.
People and stuff. Mind you, it didn't help that Joey and Matt got out and the police escort, and they were up on top of the car, the cop cars, dancing around and cheering and was saying, get off. And
Mate,
get in
also, something I've always wanted to ask, and obviously it's good to know that you're on, the night before,
Yep.
the talk that Paul had in the room with everybody,
Yeah.
the lift, how he lifted everybody, because, he's obviously hadn't beaten Manly during the year, and you pulled off a I wouldn't say an upset, but fairy tale. What was that like for you in that room that night, mate?
It was good. I mean, it was funny when Chief sort of called it, and he got it off the fact that he'd played Origin during the year, and Gus Gould had sort of called that, and we'd had a number of meetings, etc. And so Chief said, well, "Come on, boys, just one more, and just ourselves," and we weren't keen. Anyway, so we did. We just got into a room with just us players, and Chief said, "Righto." When I was in Origin this year, Gus Gould said, "This is, if this was your last ever game, what would it mean to you?" So,
and for you, that was.
And it was, for me. So it sort of went around the room. And when it got to me, I hadn't really thought about it too much, and then realised obviously it was my last ever game, and spoke about, I hadn't achieved too much in the game, and I didn't play for New South Wales, I didn't play for Australia, and goals I wanted to achieve, and so hadn't shown anything for the 13 years I'd played. So for me, yeah, it was quite emotional, and I ended up sort of breaking down and crying and stuff. But I guess it was good in that sense that the younger players thought, well, this is an opportunity for us because, you know, as a young player, you think, oh yeah, I'll play in a grand final someday, or play in a couple or whatever. But the reality is that it only comes around once or twice in your life. So, and you got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, yeah. So, from me speaking then, and everyone, I guess, realised, especially younger guys, realised, you know, what it meant. That this is the opportunity they've got, and they might as well make the most of it.
What a way to go out, mate.
Oh,
I mean, you couldn't have picked a better, you know, to retire on that game a winner.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it was, the way it happened. I mean, I say to people, I could relive one more day in my life. It'd be that day.
I also think the way you like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season before the grand final, like obviously you had your semi-finals.
Yep.
You know, the way you's beaten Parramatta when you were down 18-0, I think, wasn't it?
We
You know what I mean? It was a massive comeback.
Yep.
You know, like the tackle that Darren Albert did on Matt Sears.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? All those little things that just, you know what I mean, that just make it right. You know what I mean? Just bring everything together.
It was amazing. I mean, that tackle that Albie did on Matt Sears, if he doesn't make that tackle, there's fair chance we probably lose that game.
That's
true,
right.
100%.
Half a second. You know what I mean? That's all it took because, you know, he got the ball over the line, but he also had he had his foot out of touch as well. So, you know,
But to come from the other end of the other side of the field in the corner,
100%.
And Matt Sears is no slouch.
Nah,
you know,
Albie just flew, mate.
Yeah.
To get there it was incredible. But the good thing about the week, Mal really, like the grand final week leading into the grand final, he wanted to take us away somewhere, and we said no, we want to stay here,
soak it up,
and be part of the atmosphere and that sort of thing here. And that on the Saturday when we got on the bus and left to go down to Sydney, I could not believe how many people were lined up along Newcastle Road, like out. It was just unbelievable.
I reckon I know it's probably a bold prediction, but I reckon the next grand final we win, scenes like that will happen again because it's been
so long.
Oh, definitely.
It's been 21 years.
Look at Penrith. Penrith are a similar kind of thing. Like, where's Jerome Luai live? Mount Druitt. Mount Druitt went berserk too with the, you know, and it's good, like, because the fans have missed so much because of COVID and so it's good to be back. But I can't wait till we win this year, the premiership.
I hope you're
Dreams
right.
are free.
I hope you're right.
Oh, but anyway, we might just take a short break and be back shortly. All right, guys, and welcome back. And we might talk a few other teams. Think have a little bit of because we don't have a lot of Knights news really. Let's talk about a bit of other teams as well. So we can't really do night of the round. It's only been one game too. So let's get into a few other teams, eh?
All right, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Penrith. Start with some Penrith, eh?
What do you want to know?
Well,
that I'm hurting because we're going to lose Lenu and Crichton.
Back to back's a big one. Will you do it again this year?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't see it happening. But then again, I didn't see us going back to back last year either.
The biggest problem I feel, Appy Coruscant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a huge loss for them, massive loss. So I think, look, they're going to struggle a bit. They'll certainly be in the 8. There's no doubt about that.
Just not as dominant as they
were. No, that's for sure. And it's always difficult, you know. And if you keep winning, then you're going to lose players because of.
Yes.
Yeah, look at it now. And speaking of Penrith too, I'll go back there. Scott Sorensen rumoured to be on the Knights' radar.
Yeah, he is. So he'd be a handy acquisition for us. There's no doubt about that. Whether they can get him is another thing. I don't know whether Penrith would be keen to let him go, really.
No, you wouldn't, would you? And while we're on the Penrith thing, Dom Young on the radar of Penrith for the year too.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Sad to see him go, but...
Yeah. I mean, it'd be good to see him just play out this year, but whether that is the case, I'm not sure, so...
Especially with the other... Will Price...
Yeah.
And that coming over next year, it would have been interesting to, see how they all click, but not to be. Uncle Nick's sombrero's big. But hang on, I'm going to say something. This is what's got my goat today. They're now asking for a salary cap exemption for Angus Crichton. But I get the poor bloke's got some issues and, You know, that we wish him all the best. You know, you don't want to see anything,
No.
but haven't they got enough? Haven't they got
Yeah,
enough? You know,
I'm not a fan of because of that, and obviously he's got mental health issues, and you know I certainly feel for him, but I don't think it should be exempt on the salary cap for that.
will they get it?
Well, there's probably a fair chance they will actually.
Yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
Depends what Uncle Nick's got up his sleeve.
I tell you what, I want one of them brown paper bags because they bloody must be good.
Didn't Penrith, I don't know, this might have been a rumour, want exemption for Taylor May?
Well, he's out for the season as well, so if one gets it, it's going to open a can of worms,
They
isn't it?
did, but when did he get injured? Did he get injured in the trial?
Yeah, against St.
St.
Helens.
Helens, yeah.
Yeah, so theoretically they should be given an exemption because if you lose, from my feeling is, if you play, and so that was a game that they had to play because it was obviously for the World Club Championship,
Yep.
and you lose a player for the year, then you should be granted an exemption. There's no doubt about that.
So I
But
guess
I'm a
this
bit
is...
I'm a bit confused about the 2 weeks. He's still got 2 weeks suspension. He's got
to serve.
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
They'll just name him, even though he can't play.
I think that
Well,
should be
yeah, last
okay
week.
now that he's been injured. Yeah, mate, I don't think
to
that...
serve that next year.
No,
But
I'm not sure if that...
But once
actually
again,
works.
that's stupid too. That's opening a can of worms now. Because if you want to play this game against, you do something stupid and get suspended, I'll serve it next year.
It should be 2
Yeah.
games.
No.
Your next 2 games,
Yep.
you're gone.
Yeah, regardless.
That's right.
I guess that's why they tried to get Dom Young for that exemption for 12 months to cover the loss of Taylor May for this year.
Yeah, well, that's what they were trying.
And that's
to.
why with the swap with Sorensen, I
Yep.
guess that's where it all makes sort of sense, doesn't it? So,
I tell you what, I'm a huge fan of Dom Young. I always will be, even though he's a Rooster. But if it happened that we would swap him for Sorrow, and we got Sorrow for a longer period, I'd say go for it.
Yeah.
Because we're, as much as I love Dom, champion player, champion bloke, we got to look at our future.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he's only a winger, mate.
Yeah, well, true.
would
And he gets caught off his wing a lot.
True, he's got a little bit of a
He
defensive.
can run.
Would Sorrow be your man crush if he comes? Because, missing Clem.
No, I still love me Clem, and
Fisher Harris.
yeah, I've got a soft spot for Fish. I like James Fisher Harris. I like the mongrel that they bring. You know what I mean? And they're very quiet, sort of seem to be off the field, quiet
Yeah.
kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they get on that field, it's like a switch. And I just
Yeah.
love that.
Oh,
And,
mate, and nothing better than playing with blokes like that.
give
Because
you,
once they get out in the field, they're
and
gonna
they
give
got
it
your
their all.
back too.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Because you get like I mean this in the nicest possible way. You get that grub Hargraves after
That's
our.
nice.
No, well, he
Yeah.
would even say it
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
But that's what he does, and he does it well. But he's going to go after Kalen and the likes. And when it happened, Clem was right there. But now we've got Jack Everingham, but
He loves a bit of
he
beef.
loves a bit of
Yeah.
beef, so he might be on too much.
And to be honest, like when Jack gets out there, like blokes know that, so they're going to try and bait him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully he doesn't fall for that.
Well, I'm very keen to see, obviously, Adam Elliott, but also Jack. I'm keen to see Jack.
Yep.
And bring that mongrel and also maybe light the fire with the Saifidi boys too to bring a bit more mongrel.
Yep.
Well, I like obviously looking at the bench this week, Leo Thompson, I reckon.
Oh, huge
Yeah,
man.
mate, he's great. I love their bench.
Massive
Although
fan.
I would have had probably Tyson Gamble in there in place of Phoenix Cross.
Yeah.
Well, there's another one. I'll get into that soon. I won't get too wrapped up. But Tyson Gamble, he's another one that likes a Cody Walker. If you get in their head, they've lost it. You rattle them, and that's like he played. Was it last year? And he got in our head,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yelling at him, and now it's we're going for the right.
He can talk and dish out the trash talk and all that sort of
mate.
stuff. So
I'm excited. Is anyone else excited?
yeah, I'm really looking forward to the season and hopefully they go well. Fingers crossed, and I just hope we get majority of the players on the paddock.
I'm just excited just to see the footy back.
Oh yeah. See, I know the players need a rest and that, but I hate the off season. I hate the off season.
Why? Because you got to look at me.
No, darling. Jesus. No, but you know what I mean? Like, we love it as a family. You know, like we go every, unless someone's got a wedding on. Sorry, Melissa.
Let's not talk about that. This year, when Penrith play the Knights at Newcastle, I've always whinged that we don't go to enough weddings. This year, we got invited to a wedding, and I said yes before I checked the draw. Penrith play the Knights at home, and that's the day the wedding's on.
No.
I'm devastated.
And what time's the wedding?
Sneak away.
1 o'clock and the reception's at 5 and the game starts at 5:30, I think.
Oh, you're at the reception for half an hour then.
Yeah, true. It's at,
What-
it's at Club Macquarie, so,
I was wondering if the car broke down on the way.
well,
That's it.
I think...
I hope they're not watching
Yeah.
anyway. But, you know, it's a good family thing. Like, we love taking the kids. You know, the kids dress up, and then we go down to Penrith and, you know, watch a few games down there. And, you know, especially when the Knights are playing Penrith. And it's just
So
a
it's,
good...
it's a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And, yeah, I love it. But, all right, we'll sort of get into our segments in a sort of roundabout little kind of way, but we can't really get into a big lot of it this week. But instead of night of the round, any night so far, or any player in the rugby in general that's really impressed so far in the pre-season?
I'll say Greg Marju.
Yes.
Yeah, he played really well in the try game the other week. I think he got an injury, and he's not named in the side for this week, which surprised me because he was fantastic. I think he ran for a couple of 100 metres too.
Yep.
Really, really good. So, yeah, he's going to be a huge miss if he's out for a couple of weeks.
Kylie?
I still like watching Bradman best.
Well, Bradman's in the best shape of his career. He's lost a heap of weight
Yep.
and he looks really fit, and let's hope they can get plenty of ball to him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. But I'll go. There's a couple that I've been really. Leo Thompson. I'm a huge fan of his now.
Well, he's been real good, hasn't he? Like, he's stepped up and he's getting more confident with playing because he's a former rugby union player as well.
He
True.
reminds me of a young Tyson Frizzell.
But I'm thinking too, the Indigenous game would have done a lot for him too, playing with you know, Fish and the likes. What's the Canberra fella, former Newcastle player? It's just
Joseph Tarpany.
yeah, Tarpany, playing with Tarpany and stuff. So yeah, very impressed with Leo Thompson. But I'd you know, back to one of my all-time favourites. I'd like to see Brody have a good year this year too, and
Yeah, it'd be good to see Brady Jones do that. I mean, he played well there 2 years ago when he came on. I
In the
think
centres?
his first grade debut. Yeah, he was in the centres
Didn't he
for a
win
bit.
man a match? I think in his first,
Yeah,
one
he
of his
did,
first games.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, does plenty of work in the back row, and I think he can certainly find a place somewhere there.
yeah, that was a bit surprising. Well, but then who do you believe out?
Yeah, that's
You know
right.
what I mean? But
I mean, I look at the Knights starting team, and it's probably their best team they can put on the paddock. So, fingers crossed we can put those guys out most weeks.
yeah, too easy. While we're there, let's do the team list. Let's have a quick run through, eh? You want to do the team list, MJ?
Yeah, well, I'll go with the Knights, obviously. So, Lockie Miller at fullback. You got Heimel Hunt and Dom Young on the wings. Anari Tuala and Bradman Best in the centres. Carlin Ponga at 5'8". Now, Carlin's still obviously learning that position, and, you know, he's got to get used to players running at him. He's going to do plenty of tackling. Hopefully he doesn't miss too many. Jackson Hastings at halfback, and I think Jackson, he'll take a lot of pressure off Carlin, having to organise
And the
you
goal
know, the
kicking.
teams, etc. Yeah, that's right. Our forward pack, you've got Daniel and Jacob Saifidi in the front row with Jaden Brayley. Now, Jaden, who hasn't played much this because of injury, but I think if he can play the full year, then it'll go a long way to us.
Yeah,
probably
machine.
bringing another
Tackling
game
machine.
to them. Tyson Frizzell and Lockie Fitzgibbon in the back row, along with Kurt Mann, who's in the lock forward position. Then on the bench, you got Phoenix Crossland, Adam Elliott, Jack Hetherington, and Leo Thompson. So pretty good team, and I love the bench, and I think those blokes can add so much when they come on the field.
Even you look at the reserves, there's some pretty handy reserves on there too. You know,
Yep.
like Gamble and Brody. Dylan Lucas is, you know, I didn't know too much about him, but what I've seen, he's, pretty handy.
he goes
winger.
all right, yep.
So I like it. Let's just keep the team on the park. You know, then you're going to have Tyson Gamble, Brodie Jones, all those type of people putting pressure on your starting lineup to get
Matt Croker when he comes back.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah. What's up with Croaks?
I think he's got a suspension.
Oh, righto.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He's got a couple
true.
of weeks to go.
That's right.
And
Another
I think-
underrated player, I feel.
Yeah, without doubt. And look, Dylan Lucas, I think is his old man's Mark Lucas, who played when I was playing, so played lower grades at the Knights. So it's great to see him coming through.
Yeah, no, that's it. Good. Start building our local talent up, our local
without doubt.
nursery back up because, back in the day we had the best breeding ground.
We did.
And
now
I think
it's-
we've still got it, mate, really. I mean, you look at Penrith. Penrith obviously have got a huge junior nursery and they've taken advantage of it really well. Hence, why it's produced so many good players there and they've run back-to-back grand finals. But I think the Knights can do the same, and we've got a great junior nursery. Just, every now and again you got to look elsewhere, but I think we don't, like in those early days where we had young blokes coming through and we looked after most of the reserve grade in the 20s were locals, and I think we can still use that because we've got a wonderful junior nursery that we should be utilising those players.
Yeah, true. Especially now, we've got the centre of excellence. We've got everything now, so
It's
we've got.
all coming together.
Yeah, that's right. And then we've got the women's team coming through.
Yep.
Who will defend their title later on this year.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that's the beauty. I mean, it's great to see the women's game growing immensely, and there's so many young girls now that are switching from sports back to rugby league or to rugby league.
I tell you what, some of them can hit.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Elsie
Oh,
Albert.
I knew you'd bring her up. You are fascinated by her.
No, she's a machine. Have you seen her play? Mate, you
Yes.
wouldn't want to get hit by her. She's a machine.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. It's good too because I remember going back in the day when like, yourself and that were playing. You'd go and you'd watch, the President's Cup, the reserve grade, and then first grade. It was a full day out.
Yeah, it was.
And now they need to have every game, every club has to have a women's side, reserve grade, and a first grade, and you go and watch that each week.
I guess they'll bring that when the girls start their season, and they're bringing it a bit forward, obviously, with more teams for them this year, so they're going to have a longer competition.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's good, looking good, but looking good for the Knights, which is a good thing. Let's just hope we keep it that way, and the injuries don't happen. And
Mitch Barnett up against his old club.
He is, yeah. So
that's
that'll be
a huge loss.
Yeah, huge loss
loss.
for us, but I reckon there'll be a fair bit of niggle and baiting from both sides. Not only Mitch, but I think our blokes will sort of
So
try
I've
and
heard
wind
boys
him up
in
a
him.
bit.
Yeah, no.
watch that elbow, Mitch.
Exactly.
I know we can't. You look at all the players that we've had to let go from salary cap reasons, if you don't know, but then you look at the Roosters and you think, why do we have to get rid of Clam? Why do we have to get rid of Barney?
I've always said, I reckon the most important signing that we should make is signing the Roosters accountant.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I love it. Speaking of jokes, we might have to get into some soon, but Parramatta.
Well, that's a bit harsh. Speaking of jokes.
Yeah, well, true. Now, as Parramatta looking, guys?
I don't think we'll win, but I think we'll be in the top 4 again.
Against Melbourne? Do you reckon they'll beat Melbourne Thursday night?
Well, Big Sean Lane's out, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for him because
He has to be the ugliest man in league.
does not matter.
As long as he can play.
You told me 6 pretty ones then.
That's right, there's not too many.
I think Pappenhausen's a big loss.
Who?
Pappenhausen.
Yes.
He's a big loss.
Yes.
I think Parramatta will win against Melbourne tomorrow or Thursday night.
The worst thing is I'm out cleaning that on Thursday and I'm not going to get to see it.
Oh,
One thing I will say, Melbourne, I'm very impressed with Josh King. Since going down there,
Yeah,
King,
mate.
he's gone.
Well, he's a terrific bloke, mate, and he's, obviously he's a workaholic, and mate, he fits Melbourne to a T.
100%. See, that's the thing too. You don't want to see you lose. You don't want to lose players, but then you look at it from their point of view, and you think, well, I'm glad he went because it's made his game better. You know what I mean? And this is, I know you'll probably kill me for saying it, but I think the likes of Brodie Jones, that kind of player, and I think Broads would fit really well down with
Yeah.
Penrith.
Yep.
Under Ivan, I reckon you'd see the best come out of BG. No disrespect to the Knights or whatever. I just think, he could be sort of like that Spencer, or not, look at Spencer Leno, all those kind of that are down there. I reckon you could get the best out of Broads. And, but hands off, he's not going anywhere.
Just finishing, touching off there with Parramatta, a lot of forwards have gone this year, or from last year to the club. So
Yes.
that's a something that might be a bit of a question mark on how they roll. So
True.
and then obviously with Thursday night too, we'll have a look at Melbourne, how many forwards and experienced forwards they've lost to the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Yeah, so
Yeah, well, say
And Cheese has gone to
Roosters,
That's right.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
surprise.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
another one. But Parramatta have gone signing some more younger guys. So maybe they're looking to the future, build it up.
just waiting another 36 years.
Yeah, well,
You get past me, get out that door, Corey.
yeah. But anyway, Parramatta. Interesting to see how they go. Moving on to the Broncos, Kevy Walters. And he's Reece Walsh. I'm very keen of Reece Walsh to see him play at fullback.
Yep.
I think this
I
week,
think
I'm pretty sure he's still injured.
He'll
Isn't
go
Didn't he have
pretty
a
well.
fracture?
Yeah, I think he's out,
fracture
but-
or something?
Yeah, I think he could. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's underrated. Like he brings his kicking game as well. Like he's a goal kicker. But yeah, I don't think Brisbane will go that well this year.
All depends on how Reynolds stays fit. And
Well, that's the
Well,
big
that's
key.
it, mate, isn't it? He's the key. So, like most sides, really, their halfback
Yep.
is the key. And,
Yep.
they certainly missed him at times last year, Brisbane did. So,
Yeah,
and, obviously they haven't got Tyson Gamble to back it, got to throw in there. And,
so I don't know why they let him go. So I'm a huge
well,
fan of Gamble.
they got the young halfback, forgotten his name.
Chalk Madden.
No,
So you're talking about?
no. He played a couple of games last year. Was he in dark fella?
For the Broncos.
Broncos, yeah.
Ezra Mann, is that
Yeah,
him?
it's him.
That's him, Ezra.
Ezra, yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see how the all fits in. But it's early days too. Like people, you don't win grand finals in the first couple of weeks.
No, it's a...
But it does help you set up your season a
True.
bit. So.
Bulldogs.
Well, Kickow, Marnie, I think they're huge. And then obviously acquisitions for this year.
Yeah,
I'm very interested to see how Tavita goes this year.
Well, he won't be seeing the first 4 weeks of them.
No.
that's right. He's suspended, but I heard he has been training the house down. He's lost a bit of weight, and
Well, you looked at him
Yeah,
under
yeah,
Ivy.
Yep.
Played really well.
yeah,
And
Just got to get his head right, and he's a great player.
well, then you got the likes of Burton.
Oh, he's...
I mean, yeah, I think the Bulldogs will be up there.
Well, they'll be pushing
Depending on injuries.
Well,
That's right.
that'll depend. Every team's depending on depth, isn't it? But pushing top 8 for sure.
oh yeah,
True.
yeah, they'll be up there.
No, I reckon the Tigers over the Bulldogs.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You reckon
Yeah.
they've got
I
a
reckon the
better...
Tigers, they'll click, and the Tigers are going to surprise a lot of people. And I hope so.
Appy is a massive.
Yeah, he's a big
Yeah.
game for him.
So was
Yeah.
John Bateman,
Big
yeah,
claim.
true.
Papa Lee.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this week's show is only we're not going by how we usually go because there's no footy been on really yet. So, but yeah, it's Storm. As we touched on, Warriors. I think they'll be.
Yeah, look, they're going to be tough to beat, I think, for the Knights on Friday night. I mean, they're playing at Wellington, caked in. There's a fair chance they'll get a pretty big crowd there.
Yeah, true. And good on them too because they've went through so much for the last few
Yeah,
years with
yeah.
the COVID
I
and
think
stuff.
having, as you see, I can have a look at their team list here with the acquisitions they've acquired. Tamari Martin, he's he's a good player, and then you've got your forwards. Mitch Barnett's gone in, Martin Murata, Nikore.
Yeah.
Tohu Harris. So there's some quality players in that lineup.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're going to give, and they'll give the Knights a good game, I think.
Well, you even look at Fanua Blake. Since he left Manly.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
Yeah. You know, it just goes to show you, just a change of a club can sometimes bring that.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you reckon? A bit of a joke? A couple of jokes? Yeah, you got any jokes for us this week? Crazy Ladies jokes of the week?
Maybe. Depends if you're going to laugh this year. Last year they weren't that funny.
Well, we'll just laugh at you then, and you won't know the difference, will you?
I'm used to it.
Fire away.
Yeah.
All right. The 6th grade science teacher, Mrs. Parks, asked her class, what human body part increases to 10 times its size when stimulated? No one answered until little Mary stood up and said, you should not be asking 6th graders a question like that. I'm going to tell my parents, and they will go and tell the principal, who will then fire you. Mrs. Parks ignored her and asked the question again. Which body part increases to 10 times its size when stimulated? Little Mary's mouth fell open. Then she said to those around her, boy, is she going to get in big trouble. The teacher continued to ignore her and said to the class, anybody? Finally, Billy stood up, looked around nervously and said, the body part that increases 10 times its size when stimulated is the pupil of the eye. Mrs. Parks said, very good, Billy, then turned to Mary and continued, as for you, young lady, I have 3 things to say. 1, you have a dirty mind. 2, you didn't read your homework. And 3, one day you are going to be very, very disappointed.
Very good. That was good.
Like it.
Got any more?
Oh, really?
Or you,
One more.
one more.
Okay.
Put it on the spot.
Yeah. Lucky I came prepared.
Oh. I could tell you me Harley joke.
Oh,
Do we have
no. We heard that enough last year.
No, we'll get it after this one. Just, Mark probably hasn't heard it.
No.
Or me farm girl. Me farm girl one's the best.
A New York attorney representing a wealthy art collector called his client and said to him, Saul, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The art collector replied, I've had an awful day. Let's hear the good news first. The attorney said, well, I met with your wife today and she informed me that she's invested $5,000 in 2 pictures that she thinks will bring a minimum of $15 to $20 million. I think she could be right. Saul replied enthusiastically, well done. My wife is a brilliant businesswoman. You've just made my day. Now I know I can handle the bad news. What is it? The attorney replied, the pictures are of you with your secretary.
Very good.
Well, it's just the start of what's to come. All right, I'll tell me farm girl one. How do you excite a farm girl? A tractor.
We've only heard it about 50
Oh,
times.
it's an oldie, but come on, you got to bring the dad jokes out. Anyway, we might take a short break and be back shortly. All right, guys, and welcome back. So, yeah, big week of footy coming up. Good to be back, but
Great to be back.
yeah, anything you guys want to add?
Well, just looking forward to it, mate. As you said, like the off-season has been so long, couple of months, 3 or 4 months or so. Great to see the footy coming back because I look forward to my weekends then. But yeah, I mean, and obviously at the start of the season, everyone's keen and everyone thinks their team's going to be the team to win it. Hopefully, the Knights will have a good season.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because some, you know, in saying that too, like, you know, we did get beaten by a few games last year, but
Yep.
you still, we make fun out of it. You know what I mean? We still enjoyed. I know it's weird saying you enjoy getting your pants pulled down on a loss, but it's what you make of it as well.
Yeah, true.
At the game,
it's certainly disappointing, I know, for the supporters that when the Knights lose, you know, they certainly feel down, and yeah, it's not a great feeling, but on the other hand, when they win, I mean, the whole town and, you know, the area, the Hunter Valley, they're all happy and, you know, spending money at the shops. And,
Gives us a lot more to talk about too.
Exactly.
But no.
How do you think they'll go on the weekend, and what do you think the scores will be?
Oh, look, it's going to be tough beating the Warriors at Wellington. I mean, there's a fair chance they'll have 30 or 40,000 people there, all cheering on the Warriors, or majority of the Warriors supporters. So, yeah, look, it's going to be a tough ask first up. I think Caelan is still an experiment at 5'8". So, for me, I think the Warriors will win at home. And always at the start of the season, I tip majority of the home teams because, you know, it's their first game at home. They want to make an impression for their supporters. So I think majority of home teams will win this weekend.
And travelling all that way.
Yeah.
Good point.
Dino?
Yeah, like MG said, you know, first game, how do you tip against a home team? You know, especially all that way. But in saying that, if a few things go our way and Hastings can direct the side around, as long as our forwards are going forward and he's got room to move, anything's possible. But
You never tip against the Knights, let's be real.
I don't. That's why I never win a tipping comp in the last few years. But yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at the Knights last year. They started the season really well. They had some great games. The first 2 games were brilliant. I think they won their first 3 or 4, possibly.
I'm gonna go with the Knights. Not convinced, but I do like it on paper. And if that can gel and, you know, not fall asleep in the second half and get out to a lead, I think we can hopefully bring home the chocolates.
What do you reckon, Corey?
This game? Well,
25 words or less, please.
Warriors.
Warriors. Big margin or small?
Nah, small margin.
Crazy lady.
The Warriors are the favourites, so, and being at home, I'm going to go the Warriors. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to go Knights by 2.
I'm starting to like you again. And but also with tips each week, we'll have MG's tips up for the week to so you got a bit of a insight from someone that knows the game probably better than all of us. So get on and have a look, and we'll have his tips up each week. But yeah, it's good to be back. But get out there and if you can't watch it, listen to Triple M and MG calling the game.
Yeah, exactly. We're calling the game, and hopefully we're calling a Knights win.
That sounds great to me. I'm looking forward to that. But I don't know. Does anyone else this week got the goosebump feeling of, you know,
100%.
It brings that excitement back.
Yeah.
And
And everybody's fit and fighting to go. There's no injuries. It's just, the vibe is back. You know what I mean? So,
but I mean, next week there'll be so much more to talk about.
Yeah.
You know.
Without doubt. And you know, from the players' point of view, they're looking forward to it as much as anyone else, you know, to playing the comp and getting it underway because, you know, it's been a long off-season for them, and players that have played for Australia in the World Cup and in other countries as well that played in the World Cup. So, they're looking forward to a season. And as we said, every team that starts, they're all thinking they're going to win the comp.
talking about winning the comp, has anyone got a bold prediction who's going to win the comp this year if it's not your team?
I'm going to say Cronulla.
Cronulla, nice.
I'm going to say Souths.
I was going to say South.
Souths and I'm going to go. I was thinking Souths and Roosters grand final.
If it's not, I'd love to say Newcastle. I really would. And I'd love to see Newcastle Penrith grand final. That would be the ultimate for.
That would be good.
Or for one of us anyway, but it would be a long trip home.
It could be a horse afterwards.
I tell you what, mate, that would a hidden camera in our house that week would make a good show. I tell you.
One of you should have to move out for the week.
I think that's why she's put heating down here this year, you know, because that's where I'll end up.
You still, if that bet's still on, if you're going to dye your hair this year again, if between the Unites and
I reckon paint his fingernails pink.
I don't think so. Anyway,
He could dress as a female for a week, I reckon.
Yeah, there you go.
who's turning me
There
on?
you go. That sounds great.
No, I tell you what, we will do some bets this year, and you know, different teams, and I'll take you on one of your Dragons as well.
Mate, my team are March premiers already.
They've started off with the 2 points straight
Call
up.
the season off. Let's go.
But we'll do that and make a bit of fun with it. But looking forward to it. Can't wait. So that'll be us for this week. Just a shorter show to get us into it. But once again, thanks to all our sponsors that will be up again next week. And
to all those new ones that will come on board this year.
Yeah, and Harry Snitzel, check it out. Must say thanks to Burton Automotive. But, you know.
Yeah, if you're looking for a car, go and see Burton Automotive. They've got some great Havels there, and they're quite cheap, the Havels, but a great car. So I've got one out there.
Oh, that's the
Terrific
go, eh? Yeah, they're a lovely bunch of people too. You know.
I bet
so-
your seat doesn't recline and not come back up.
Oh, funny story. Yeah,
It's not funny
Well,
because
it's
I can't
not.
drive my car.
she's got a Colorado Walkinshaw, and I had to, Kylie sits on the steering wheel, and I've got to sit on the back seat, being so tall. So putting the seat back, or she's stuck in the lay down position. So
That'd be
I thought-
uncomfortable sitting on the steering wheel, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Is it good?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
But you know what I mean. She's that close up. So unfortunately, she's taken the power this week and taken the SS. But yeah, Burton Automotive, Harry Schnitzels, all them. Yeah, we couldn't do it without yous, and look forward to doing some stuff. Talking Schnitt will be out in the streets in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for us, and yeah, come and say good day. But welcome aboard, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
And
Looking
yeah,
forward to hopefully a good season.
yeah, we will. We'll have a good season, I reckon, and
We will.
I'm confident. And hey, only way is up from last year. So get out there and support the boys. As I said, if you can't, obviously get to Auckland and you're not watching on TV, Triple M, listen to the call.
Definitely.
So see you all next week.
Sounds good.
And yeah, we'll be here. And yeah, Talking Schmidt will be back next week. We'll have a lot of stuff. Plus the fridge we're giving away. Over near Gaz, we're giving away the exact same fridge as this. But it'll be in any team colour.
Thanks, Mario.
We might have one winner a week for the next 25 weeks or whatever. We might have two winners. Go on a chocolate wheel, and at the end of the year, we'll spin the wheel, and you'll get a winner.
Can we enter?
No.
I think that look good in blue and yellow.
No.
No, it's a
It'd
fridge,
turn
not a toilet.
It'd make everything stale.
And also,
36
whoever's
years.
done
No, I'm
the
kidding.
tips,
Please
whoever's
don't.
done the tips, don't forget to put their tips in.
Yeah,
by,
don't forget you put your
by
tips
Thursday.
in, and yeah, check out MG's
Yep.
expert tips. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're expert tips.
we'll go with that, mate.
It's always,
I
it's
like
always
'em.
hard to go the first
Yeah,
couple
first
of
couple.
rounds, isn't it? Hard to pick.
The teams have got to get a feel for each other, even though they've had a trial. It's still early days, so
I'll be interested to see how the Dolphins roll out. That's
I think they're in for a long year, unfortunately.
Dolphins don't roll, mate.
well, okay.
There you go.
Well, they might.
And thanks to everyone that's helped us throughout the off season to get us up and running. Next week will be a bumper show, and yeah, all guns blazing. So glad to be back. So till next week,
Once a night.
always a night.
Good night.
Looking forward to it.